Yeah, I mean, I like at 15, I knew I wanted to be a metalsmith. I've been in Pittsburgh for a year now and still love the city even more than I did when I first moved here. After graduate school, I moved around the country for a few years doing some teaching jobs, and I loved teaching, but I didn't like where I was teaching, and so I decided that location was really important to me and that I would move to a place I wanted to be and be surrounded by people that I wanted to be with and an environment that I was happy in. So I moved to Pittsburgh. I'm the store manager at Society for Contemporary Craft, which is located in the Strip District. There also happens to be a really strong community of metalsmiths here. My studio is located on Pittsburgh's north side, and it's a former Pittsburgh paint building, and it's a great space. It's kind of in a maybe not the best neighborhood, which is fine with me. It's great for watching the locals, and I share the studio space with my friend from graduate school. We named it the Studio Situation because our landlord uses that word in probably every sentence. The situation is playing out, and so it just was natural to become the Studio Situation, and it really has stuck. During graduate school at some point is when I got a lot more interested in historical metalworking and jewelry, and started to look at a lot of the Berlin ironwork and the Victorian sentimental jewelry, and that started to have a really big influence on my work. I do use rust as a symbol of the passage of time, and that's one of the things I like so much about working with steel, is that it shows a sense of age. It's a really strong material. It has a really interesting history, especially here in Pittsburgh. It can be really decorative, it can be very functional, and I think that it has a value that in some ways is more important than gold or silver because it can be used in a functional way. I'm gonna soak the fabric in my special sauce, which is a secret. I feel like my work does have a sense of sentimentality because of the rust, because I want that to reference the passage of time. I feel like that's what gives my work a sense of value rather than the materials that I'm using, is that historical reference to the ornamental ironwork, the sense of age that I'm giving it with the rust, and in a way just because so much of it is made with repetition and it takes a very long time to fabricate, so that sense of craftsmanship and labor I think also elevates the value. Alright, so once I fill all the cells with the fabric, that's when the rust happens and that I don't have so much control over. Because of the rust process, every piece takes at least 24 hours, because once I fabricate the steel, then I still have to add the fabric. It has to dry at least 24 hours before then I can go in and trim off all the excess fabric and do any kind of settings or however else I'm going to finish the piece. I do make all of my jewelry with the intention of it being worn, and the idea of function is really important to me. I try to wear my pieces whenever I feel like it's appropriate, because I think it is nice for people to see art jewelry being worn. I also wear a lot of my friends' jewelry for the same reason. I think that my work might look a little intimidating because of the steel and the rust and the fabric and the wax. It just looks a little bit different than your typical, gold and silver jewelry, but it's really lightweight, and I think about the body when I make it, so it usually is fairly comfortable. I'm going to be constantly inspired by the city, the bridges, the ironwork everywhere, the decay, which I find beautiful. It's a really fun city. Things are happening. There's a lot of artists. There's a great community of metalsmiths here. Most of them are around my age. We have kind of a social group, and it keeps me inspired and somewhat academic. Now that I'm out of the academic world, it's really nice to have this group of people that I can talk to about my work, that I can bounce ideas off of, and feel like I have a real community here. And these are just purely decorative, so taking a functional object and stripping of its function, leaving only decoration.